The rain that changed everything. The sound of rain pounding against the windshield nearly drowned out her sobs, but Josh Coleman heard them anyway. Standing beneath the flickering gas station light, clutching her infant to her chest under a soaked jacket, was a woman who would change his life forever, though neither of them knew it yet. Some say the universe conspires to bring people together exactly when they need each other most. For Josh and Elena, that conspiracy began with a thunderstorm and ended with a second chance neither believed possible. Josh pulled his beat-up truck to the side of the gas station, windshield wipers fighting a losing battle against the downpour. He was already running late to pick up his daughter from her basketball practice, but something about the woman's hunched shoulders and the protective way she curled around the bundle in her arms made it impossible to drive past. "Hey," he called through his roll-down window, rain immediately soaking his sleeve. "You need help?" Elena Martinez looked up, mascara tracking down her cheeks, indistinguishable from the raindrops. Her scrub pants were soaked through, her hospital badge still clipped to her pocket. The baby against her chest whimpered, and she bounced automatically, a mother's instinct that transcended her own distress. "My car broke down," she said, voice cracking. "My phone's dead. We've been waiting for someone to stop for almost an hour." Josh glanced at his dashboard clock. His daughter Lily would be wondering where he was. But the woman's lips were turning blue with cold. "Get in," he said, reaching across to push open the passenger door. "I've got a car seat in the back for my daughter. We can use it for your baby." Elena hesitated only a moment before rushing to the truck, relief momentarily overtaking the defeat in her eyes. What Josh didn't know as Elena carefully secured her 6-month-old son in his daughter's old car seat was that the broken-down car contained everything she owned in the world. What Elena didn't know was that Josh had spent the last 3 years learning how to rebuild a life from scattered pieces, a skill she desperately needed. "I'm Josh," he said, turning up the heat as she shivered in the seat beside him. "Elena," she replied, her voice small. "And this is Noah. Nice to meet you both. Listen, I need to pick up my daughter from basketball. Is it okay if we do that first, and then I can help with your car?" Elena nodded, staring straight ahead. "That's fine. Thank you for stopping." Josh called Lily's coach as they drove, explaining he'd be 15 minutes late. In the rear-view mirror, he watched Noah's eyes grow heavy with the truck's warmth and gentle motion. "He's beautiful," Josh said softly. "How old?" 6 months, Elena answered, turning to check on her son. For the first time, Josh saw her smile, a brief, tender expression that transformed her face entirely. When they pulled up to the middle school gym, Lily was waiting under the awning, her 13-year-old face instantly curious at the sight of strangers in her father's truck. Josh watched his daughter's expression shift from annoyance at his lateness to concern as she took in Elena's red-rimmed eyes and damp clothes. "Lily, this is Elena and her son Noah. Their car broke down in the storm," Josh explained as Lily climbed into the back seat. "Hi," Lily said, immediately leaning over to coo at the baby. "He's so cute." As they drove back toward the gas station, Elena quietly explained that she was a pediatric nurse who had just finished a 12-hour shift when her car died. What she didn't mention, what she couldn't bring herself to say in front of a child, was that the car wasn't just transportation. It was shelter. When they reached the gas station and Josh examined her ancient sedan, the diagnosis was grim. The timing belt's gone, and from the sound of it, there might be engine damage too. Elena's face crumpled. "I can't afford to fix it," she whispered, so quietly that only Josh could hear. The rain was letting up, but darkness was settling in. Josh made a decision. "Listen, there's a diner about a mile from here. Let's get some dinner, and we can figure out next steps." At the diner, over plates of comfort food that Elena barely touched, the truth came out in fragments. 3 months ago, her apartment building had burned down while she was working a night shift. Insurance had covered almost nothing. With daycare costs eating most of her paycheck and medical bills from Noah's premature birth still piling up, she'd been living in her car for the past 2 weeks, showering at the hospital and keeping up appearances so child services wouldn't take her son. Today was my breaking point, she admitted, eyes downcast. I was going to drive to my parents' house in Ohio, try to start over. Then the car. Across the table, Lily's eyes were wide with horror and compassion. Josh recognized the expression. It was the same one his daughter had worn at her mother's funeral 3 years ago, when she realized life could change irrevocably in an instant. "Dad," Lily said suddenly, turning to Josh with determination. "Elena and Noah can stay with us tonight. Right?" Josh looked at his daughter with pride. After losing her mother to cancer, Lily had developed a fierce protectiveness toward anyone in pain. He nodded. "Of course they can." Elena started to protest, but exhaustion won out. That night, she slept in their guest room, Noah in a makeshift crib fashioned from a drawer and blankets. In the hallway, Josh overheard his daughter whispering on the phone to her best friend, "Her baby is all she has left. Just like it was just me and Dad after Mom died." The next morning, Josh called into his construction company, taking a rare day off. While Elena was in the shower, her first proper one in weeks, he made calls about her car. The news wasn't good, repairs would cost more than the vehicle was worth. Over breakfast, Josh watched Elena with Noah. Despite everything, she was patient and loving, making silly faces to make her son giggle while she fed him mashed banana. Josh recognized the look of a parent who would do anything for their child. He saw it in his own mirror every day. "I've been thinking," he said carefully. "The apartment over our garage has been empty since my mother-in-law moved to Florida. It's small, but it has a bathroom and kitchenette." Elena looked up, wariness in her eyes. "I can't accept charity." "It's not charity. It's rent-free housing in exchange for helping Lily after school. I've been looking for someone trustworthy. I work late sometimes. You'd be doing us a favor." It was partly true. Josh had worried about Lily being alone too much, but he'd never formally looked for help. Still, seeing the pride in Elena's posture, he knew she needed to feel useful, not helpless. Elena looked at Lily, who was bouncing Noah on her knee. "I don't know. Just until you get back on your feet," Josh insisted. "You're a nurse. You're not going to be down forever." 2 weeks turned into a month. A month turned into 3. Elena found a job at the local hospital, working days instead of nights. Josh helped her find a used car within her budget. Slowly, the haunted look in her eyes began to fade. What neither of them expected was how naturally they would fit into each other's lives. Josh found himself looking forward to evenings when they'd all have dinner together, Elena telling stories from the pediatric ward, Lily making Noah belly laugh with her silly dance moves. For the first time since his wife died, the house felt full again, not just with people, but with possibility. There were setbacks. Elena received a collection notice for medical bills she thought were covered by insurance. Josh's company faced a slowdown, forcing him to cut back hours. Lily went through a phase of testing boundaries, perhaps sensing the shifting dynamics in their home. But they weathered these challenges together, sometimes awkwardly, always honestly. 6 months after that rainy night, Elena found Josh sitting alone on the back porch, looking at old photographs. "Is that your wife?" she asked softly, sitting beside him. Josh nodded, tracing the edge of the photo. "Today would have been our 15th anniversary." Elena was quiet for a moment. "Tell me about her." And he did. For the first time in years, Josh spoke about his wife without the crushing weight of grief strangling his words. He told Elena how Claire had loved thunderstorms, how she would pull Lily outside to dance in the rain. How she'd been a terrible cook but made the world's best hot chocolate. How brave she'd been through 2 years of treatments. "She made me promise to be happy again," Josh said finally. "I didn't think I could keep that promise." Elena looked at him, really looked at him. "Are you happy?" Josh considered the question. I'm getting there, he answered honestly. Lily is thriving. The business is recovering. And you and Noah, you brought something back into our lives that I thought was gone forever. Elena's eyes filled with tears. You did the same for us. You know that, right? The night you found us, I was at my lowest point. I'd lost everything, my home, my security, my belief that I could take care of my son. But you reminded me that sometimes help comes from unexpected places. Their hands found each other in the darkness of the porch, fingers intertwining. It wasn't romantic, not yet, but it was a connection built on something stronger than attraction. It was built on shared struggle, on understanding exactly how fragile life could be, and choosing to be brave anyway. 1 year to the day after Josh found Elena and Noah at that gas station, they stood together in that same spot, now with a small plaque installed by the owner, who had heard their story. Sometimes the worst storms bring the greatest blessings, it read. Elena leaned against Josh's shoulder, Noah toddling around their feet while Lily took photos. Do you ever think about how many things had to align perfectly that night? She asked. If my car had broken down anywhere else. If you hadn't been running late. If it hadn't been raining so hard that I couldn't keep walking. Josh wrapped his arm around her shoulders. I used to think life was just a series of random events, some good, some devastating. Now I'm not so sure. What changed your mind? Elena asked. Josh looked at their reflection in the gas station window, the four of them, somehow now a family. You did, he said simply. You and Noah showed me that sometimes, the things that seem like endings are just beginnings in disguise. Life wasn't perfect. Elena still had bad days when the trauma of nearly losing everything resurfaced. Josh still grieved for Claire. Lily still sometimes struggled with sharing her father's attention. Noah still woke them all up at ungodly hours of the morning. But they had built something beautiful from the broken pieces of their previous lives, something stronger for having been remade. That night in the rain could have been just another sad story, a homeless nurse, a fatherless baby, a chance encounter with a kind stranger. Instead, it became the first chapter in a story about finding family in unexpected places, about the courage it takes to accept help, and about the healing power of offering it. If you're watching this right now, maybe you're going through your own storm. Maybe you feel like Elena did that night, like you've lost everything but hope. Or maybe you're like Josh was, going through the motions of life but missing its meaning. Either way, remember that the rain that feels like it's drowning you today might be nourishing tomorrow's garden. The stranger who stops to help might become the person you can't imagine living without. This story is inspired by countless real moments when strangers became saviors, when kindness changed trajectories, when second chances appeared just when they were needed most. If it touched your heart, please consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it today. Hit that like button to help more people find this message of hope, and subscribe to join our community of believers in the power of compassion and second chances. Because the truth is, we're all just one rainstorm away from needing help, or from being someone else's miracle.